They say the mountain doesn't just take people, it erases them. There are corners of this world that refuse to be mapped, and Black Mountain is one of them.
October 14th, 1978. Elias Thorne, Sarah Jenkins, and the Miller brothers entered the trailhead at dawn. They were experienced. They were prepared. They were never seen again.
Their goal was the summit, a 3-day trek through some of the most unforgiving terrain in the Appalachians. But the mountain, it had other plans. By the first afternoon, the atmosphere changed. The birds went silent, the wind stopped. A heavy, unnatural stillness settled over the trail.
The first sign of trouble was the navigation. Elias reported in his log that their compasses had become erratic. North was no longer where it should be.
They made camp early. The shadows were lengthening faster than they should have. Sarah claimed she could feel eyes on the back of her neck from the trees.
That night, the recordings began. Elias kept a small tape recorder. The audio from that first night is difficult to explain.
There are no animals that make this sound. It sounds like heavy, rhythmic breathing, but coming from the ground itself.
Morning revealed the first disappearance. Mark Miller was gone. No struggle, no tracks in the soft mud, just an empty sleeping bag and a shredded tent.
They found his boot an hour later, 3 miles from the camp. It wasn't dropped, it was placed, carefully, on a branch far beyond reach. Panic began to set in. They tried to head back, but the trail they had arrived on had vanished. The trees had seemingly shifted behind them. The markings appeared everywhere, not carvings from a local tribe, but symbols that seemed to defy geometry. Looking at them for too long caused vertigo. The escalation was rapid. While navigating a fog-choked ridge, Elias felt the rope go light. He turned around, and the Miller brother was simply not there. The rope hadn't been cut. It hadn't snapped. It had ended, as if the rest of the line and the man attached to it had ceased to exist in this dimension. Driven by exhaustion and terror, the final two sought shelter in a natural cavern. It was here they found the first piece of the puzzle and the beginning of the end.
The mountain wasn't just stone and soil, it was reacting. Every step they took deeper into the cave felt like walking into a living throat.
Witnesses from the valley reported strange lights that night, not flares, but shimmering curtains of light that seemed to fold the peak out of reality.
Sarah was gone by midnight. Elias didn't even hear her leave. He just turned his head, and the space where she sat was cold.
Time on Black Mountain does not move in a straight line. Elias had only been in the cave for hours, but his body was beginning to reflect a lifetime. He thought he was saved. He saw the camp. He saw his friends. He ran toward them, shouting their names, but they didn't hear him.
He was standing in his own past. He watched himself setting up the tent. He watched the moment he felt eyes on him from the woods.
He tried to warn them. He tried to scream. But on Black Mountain, the past is a locked room, and he was just a ghost in the hallway.
Then came the twist. He found his journal, but the entries didn't stop at the disappearance. They continued for years, decades.
The mountain hadn't killed them. It had trapped them in a temporal loop, a digestive system of time, where they were forced to watch their own ends, forever.
The illusion shattered. There was no forest. There was no trail. There was only the mountain and the things it had consumed over the centuries.
They aren't missing. They are right there, thousands of them, walking the slopes in a silence so deep it swallows the soul. Search teams still go up there. They find nothing. No bodies, no gear, just a cold spot in the air that makes their skin crawl. Sometimes the mountain lets a piece of you go back, a shadow, a memory,
a feeling of dread that follows you home.
The records are disappearing too. Files lost in fires, memories fading. It's as if the earth is actively scrubbing the incident from our collective history.
Next time you find yourself on a trail and the birds stop singing and the wind dies down, don't look back.
Because the mountain doesn't just take what it wants, it takes everything you ever were and everything you were going to be. Sleep well if you can, and stay off the Black Mountain trails. Some secrets are better left unclimbed.